Okay, boys and girls, so for example number 3, you should have written it into unit form, which would be 7/9 divided by 3/9, and you should have modeled your dividend. So your dividend is 7/9, so 9/9 make up one whole, and you would have 7 shaded. Now our divisor is going to tell us how many ninths are in each group. So 7/9 divided by 3/9, we're going to divide it so that 3/9 are in each group. So I have 1, 2, 3/9. There's one group. 1, 2, 3/9. There's a group. And then I have this one shaded piece left over. So how many pieces, how many parts are in a group? Well, we know that there are 3 parts to make up a group, and we have 1 of those parts left over. So if I have 7/9 and I put 3/9 in each group, I can make 2 whole groups, and I'll have 1/3 of a group left over. Again, this tells the number of groups. So this is not the value that are in each group. 1/3 is not in each group. This is just the number of groups that we can make. What we've noticed is that with these 3 examples that we've done, all of them have had a common denominator. And when that happens, our ninths can cancel out, and we can do 7 divided by 3. So 7 divided by 3. If I have 7, I can make 2 groups. 2 times 3 is 6. 7 minus 6 is 1. Check. Is 1 less than 3? It is. And I could write it as a remainder, a fraction, or a decimal. We are dealing with fractions, so I'll write my remainder as a fraction. What I have left over is my numerator, and my divisor is my denominator. And this matches what we were able to model. Now, I do want you to pay close attention. My denominator in the problem is not the same denominator in my answer, because this is talking about the parts, and this is talking about the number of groups. So if we look back to example number 1, 8/9 divided by 2/9, our ninths cancel out, and 8 divided by 2 equals 4 wholes, 4 groups, and that's what we were able to model and show. We can do the same thing with example number 2. Our 12s cancel out. 9 divided by 3 is 3, and that also matches what we were able to show. So you can model it, and you can write it in unit form. Those would cancel out, and just do division. So now you have exercises 1 through 6. Go ahead and do those now. Push pause until you have them finished, and then we'll go over the answers. Number 1 on exercise number 2. Remember, pause this until you have them finished. If you're finished, keep watching. Number 1 said, how many fourths are in 3/4? This are in. Those are key words that tells me that this is a part that are in the whole, or the total amount. Because if I have 3/4 here, I want to know how many 1/4 are in there. So 3/4 is going to be my whole amount, my total. So if I were going to write this as an equation, I would write 3/4 divided by 1/4, because a fourth would be written as 1/4. So now I can put that into unit form. 3/4 divided by 1/4. I know the fourths cancel out, and 3 divided by 1 is 3. Number 2, 4/5 divided by 2/5. Our 5ths cancel out. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 9/4. So writing it in unit form, divided by 3/4. Our fourths would cancel out. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Okay, moving down to 7/8 divided by 2/8. So if I wrote it in My eighths would cancel out. And then I would do 7 divided by 2, long division. If I have 7, I can make 3 groups of 2. 7 minus 6 is 1. And I'll write it as a fraction. So this becomes my numerator and 2 is my denominator. So I would have 3 1/2. Now I'm going to go ahead and model that just to show. So I have 7 eighths. 8 eighths make a whole. So here's my 8 eighths. And I have 7 of them shaded. I'm going to put 2 eighths in each group. So I have 1, 2, there's a group. 1, 2, there's a group. 1, 2, there's a group. And then I have 1 left over. There are 2 parts to make a group, and I have 1 part. So I'm able to make 3 1/2 groups. Okay, looking at 5 and 6, our dividend is 13/10. What kind of fraction is 13/10? That is an improper fraction because the numerator is greater than the denominator. I know it's worth more than 1 whole. So 13/10 is 1 whole and 3/10. Now, when I model that, I do put them all on one tape diagram, and I just kind of use a bolder line to show this is 1 whole. So here's my 10/10, and then I have my 3/10 left over. So I have 13/10, and I'm going to put them into groups with 2/10 in each group. So 1, 2, let's go ahead and write it actually in unit form. 2/10. So my tenths would cancel out. And then I have 13 divided by 2. I have 1, I can't make any groups. 13, I can make 6 groups. 6 times 2 is 12. 1 becomes my numerator. So the answer should be 6 1/2. And we can model that by putting 2/10 in each group. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I have this 1/10 left over. There are 2/10 in each group, and I have 1. So that would put my answer at 6 1/2. And then on number 6, we have another improper fraction here, 11/9. So that is equal to 1 2/9. So here's my bold line to show this is 1 whole, and then there's my 2 extra 9ths. The value of each one is 1/9. So I'm going to put it into groups that 3 9ths are in each group. Let's go ahead and write it in unit form. So my 9ths would cancel out, and I need to do 11 divided by 3. 11, I can make 3 groups. Check, 2 is less, so I'm going to write it as a fraction. There's my numerator and my denominator. So 3 2/3. So let's break them into groups and see if we can model that. So 3 9ths go in each group. 1, 2, 3, there's a group. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Then I have 2 parts left over. There are 3 parts in each group, and I have 2 left over, so my answer would be 3 2/5, and that matches. Okay, boys and girls, you can use these strategies to solve division of fraction by fraction on the problem set. Work hard.